So do you get really, really angry when your child makes a mess? Many of us do. So we shout, we yell, we scream, we sometimes hit as well, because most of us are used to having clean and neat houses. We think it's expected of us to have clean and neat houses, and therefore we try to keep our houses as neat as possible. And when children mess it up by doing the things that children normally do, we get really, really upset. A lot of times because we will be judged because of the dirty house, because of the child who's in a big mess, and also because we don't have the time. But what is really, really important to remember here is that we actually need to allow children to make messes. We have to allow them to make messes. In fact, we have to encourage them to make messes, because making a mess is the way a child learns, right? So it's not just about some vague learning and you're like, it's okay if my child doesn't learn this. No, it's not okay, because messy play, playing in a messy way, eating in a messy way, dropping things, picking them up, smearing them all over the place, putting it on their face, etc., is really, really important for your child to start reading, to start writing, to do math, to do science, and to learn social skills. So I know a lot of us don't know that. A lot of us think that it's most important for children to be neat and clean. But what happens when we only ensure neatness and cleanliness and do not allow children to be themselves, to make a mess, to be in their natural form? We don't encourage them to make messes. We prevent them from making messes. It really obstructs their journey in learning. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how to go about messy play and what to do during messy play such that your child learns to read, or learns the skills rather that are required to learn to read, the skills that are required to learn to write, the skills that are required to do math, the skills that are required for scientific learning, the skills that are required when a child has to be creative, and the skills that are required when a child needs to make friends. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe right now, because there are many more videos like this coming up. And of course, like this video so you're able to find it easily the next time. So what will you need for basic mm, messy play? So how do you arrange messy play? So the first thing is to minimize the area in which the mess occurs. So I would say, if you can for small children, if you can just get them a tub, a largish tub, and then put the materials into the tub and put them into the tub, all you will then need to do is, rinse out the tub and wash your child down. So that may be the easiest way to do. Of course, you can do it in any way. You can use a paddling pool, those inflatable swimming pools. You can have the mess contained in that. You can do it, of course, you have outdoor area, just do it outdoors so that the mess remains there and your house remains clean. You can actually wash your child down before they come into the house so that their house is neat and tidy. What other things would you need for messy play? So the second thing that is most important to have are old clothes that you can afford for them to get dirty, and you can just dump them, maybe throw them away, if they're too small and they can be thrown away, fantastic. If not, they should be easily washable. So you can take the washable, easy dry materials, the kind we wear for sports, so that those dry fit kind of clothes, so that it's not a problem to wash them. You could also put your child in a swimsuit, because that makes it really, really easy for you to clean up afterwards as well. uh, Even before we begin messy play, in order to convince ourselves that it's not going to be such a big problem, we have to do whatever we can to minimize the mess and to ensure that the cleanup is early and easy. So what else would you need? The equipment, let's say, that you require. So get paints, get Play-Doh, get water, have sand, have mud available. If you're worried about your child putting the whatever they're playing with into their mouth, one of the things that you can do is to allow your child to play with cake batter. So when you make cake batter, it's slightly runny. You can put various colors into it to just give it the color, and that cake batter is kind of safe for your child to use. So don't use egg, you can use curd to make the cake batter, and you can add food coloring if you like, or you can add various colors like turmeric for yellow, brown with chocolate, and so on. And then if it goes into your child's mouth, it's not a problem. You don't want to make cake batter, just add a little bit of color to dahi itself, and the child will also eat it up, and that will be good for their health, right? So of course from a clean surface, but yes, you understand what I'm saying, right? Now, what is the biggest problem with children's studies? So typically children don't want to study, and that is something almost every parent struggles with. So what is the solution? One of the important things that we can do as a solution to children not wanting to study is to allow them a lot of time for messy play. When children are in the middle of messy play, they have full freedom to do what they want. So if they have that time to spend in independent thought, doing what they want the way they want, without any instruction and without any deadline, without any you know rules or regulations that they have to adhere to, they will get motivated, and you will find that this motivation is slowly going into other areas as well. Children who are allowed messy play will jump into anything you want them to do later. Those who are not allowed messy play will typically be reluctant to do anything. They're like, no. So if you want a child to be motivated, that's the first thing. Messy play will help your child to get motivated. And this is applicable almost at all ages, right? So even if you allow your teenager to go play a game of football outside in the rain and get muddy and dirty, look at the happiness and motivation they come back with. So never hesitate to help your child to get into messy play. Now, coming to reading. So, what are the three things that the child really needs in order to master reading? So, the first thing that the child requires before they can start reading is the ability to solve problems. So, every word that they come across is a problem for them. It may sound strange to us, but yes, decoding that word, understanding it, pronouncing it, reading it, is a problem every single time. So, problem solving is a very important skill that they require before they can start reading. The second skill that they require is language skills. So, before a child can read a language, they of course need to understand the language. Otherwise, if they're reading cat, they're like, what does it mean? If they're reading all, they don't know what it means. And so, there is no point to reading unless they really know the language. So, language skill is really, really important. And the third skill that the child requires while reading is storytelling. So, when the child learns how to tell a story, how to link incident one with incident two and incident two with incident three, the child learns how to also connect and arrange the letters of the word in the same way that they would arrange the incidents of a story, right? So these are the three skills a child really, really needs before they can learn how to read. Now, in order to help children to learn problem solving and also to enjoy problem solving and be motivated to solve problems, every word is a problem, let's not forget. Help your child to play with various materials. So, for example, if you give your child sticky material, right? So, one of the things a child will need to do is get the sticky material off their fingers. So, that is a problem for them. They are solving that problem and they're building the part of their brain that is required for problem solving. This will help them in decoding each word. where each word is a problem. The second thing, so how do you help your child to develop language skills? So talk to your child while they are playing. So talk about the color. Wow, look at that yellow color. So not continuously maybe, but intermittently whenever they look up at you, appreciate them. Wow, nice. Wow, look at that yellow color. We should add a little bit of red to it. It's becoming squishy now. Ew, look at that. And then you can say, oh, yellow and red are now making orange. Isn't that wonderful? So your child has learned so many things about the color, about the shape, about the texture when you talk to them. Then coming to the storytelling part, so children are usually, dreaming about some story and doing something. So whenever they're, you give them a pot and a pan and a little bit of curd or cake batter, and they'll start making the cake or cooking the way they've seen you cook in the past. And this can be a wonderful experience for you if you ask them, what are you doing? What are you going to do next? Wow. And then say, okay, let me see. Wow. Do you want to call your doll to eat here? Let's do that. What about the teddy bear? Come, let's seat them at the table. Let's give them some food. Oh my God, they've got so dirty. Now let's give them a bath. So they're learning language, they're learning storytelling. As they get older and older, they will construct their own stories. They will keep telling you their stories. And that's how they will learn how to sequence events in their brain and eventually learn to sequence letters to make the word. So problem solving, learning the language, and learning how to sequence the letters is very, very important. And all these can easily be learned during messy play. Coming to writing. So for writing, some of the key things that are required are gross motor skills and fine motor skills. So for gross motor skills to develop, the child needs to lift, to carry, to stand, to sit, maybe crawl, maybe lie on the floor sometimes. And when we allow them messy play, when we allow them to do just what they want, they will lift the sand, take it to somewhere, bring some water, carry it in a bucket, pour it over there, and so on. So that's developing their hand-to-eye coordination, their motor planning. It's helping them to build the skills required, the gross motor skills required to actually move their body, which all help towards writing. Then coming to the fine motor skills. So one of the things that children do when you give them something to play with is that they start going like this with their finger. And that is such an important thing because isolating the first finger is most important for writing. Children often struggle with that. Also, when you give them something to dig with in the sand or in the mud, they develop strength in their hands. When they play with Play Doh, they develop strength in their hands. Then they start tracing in the mud, the sand, or the paint, and they learn that, wow, I'm writing already, right? So these are all ways in which these skills are developing that the child can use to write with. But how can you help? You can help A by also providing the materials, but in addition, help your child to also, see, wow, that's a circle you made. Shall we make a triangle now? So when you're playing with your child, you can actually help them to do that. Or you can give suggestions. Hey, there's a water bucket over there. Go bring some water. Let's pour it into this and so on, right? So all these can really help with writing skills. Then coming to math skills. So math skills are all about classifying, about counting, about looking at shapes and sizes, knowing what's more, what is less. All these will come out in messy play. So when the child looks at 5 stones that they've collected, right, and 5 leaves, so they will divide the stones and the leaves. This will come very automatically to them. So they learn how to classify, how to categorize. After a while, they will also learn how to count. So you can say, can you give me 1 stone? And they'll give you 1 stone. And then you can start asking for 2, 3. And so the child learns actually in real life how to count. Then, of course, there are shapes. You can point out shapes during messy play when the child is drawing or whatever they're doing in the paint or in the mud or in the sand. And then there are sizes. So, this is a big bucket, this is a small bucket. Let's pour the water from the big bucket into the small bucket. And of course, there's the concept of more and less. So, child may ask you, that's not enough gum. I need some more glue. So, the child has learned that, there is something called less and then there's something called more. So, all these help towards building the skills that children require to do math. And then there's science. So science is actually about exploring, about experimenting, about observing, and about noticing cause and effect. That's what science really is. And all this can really be explored in messy play. So you give your child something to dig with. Maybe it's just a stick, and the child digs, and the child is like, what's coming under the mud? What's under the sand? So the curiosity comes in, and curiosity is one of the most important things in learning. And then there's experimenting. So if they're mixing two colors and it's becoming a different color, they're like, wow, this is nice. This is different from what it was before, and I have created it. Then there's cause and effect. So they're holding Play-Doh and they're just squeezing it like this, and it's coming out from in between their fingers. And they suddenly realize, okay, if I squeeze it very hard, it'll come out. But if I squeeze it a little less, it will not come out. So they've understood now how cause is linked to effect. And then, of course, there is observation, which is constantly there because a child is very, very focused when they are in the middle of messy play. And of course, when they're outdoors, they will start collecting things. They'll start observing that, okay, I have one yellow leaf here, and then there's a yellow leaf there. Let me go pick it up. So all these things will really help children. If you have a child who's really throwing tantrums, it's wonderful to allow them messy play, because messy play removes all fear. There is no beginning, there is no end, there is no defined product that they have to get to. And because of that, they have full freedom to be fearless and do whatever they want. And one of the reasons children throw tantrums is because they cannot do what they want. And that is why they throw tantrums. So if you have a child who's throwing tantrums, go ahead and give them chance. Messy play. You'll find that the tantrums have reduced remarkably. Social skills. So one of the most important things for us to understand is that if we want to build social skills in a child, it's wonderful if we can put the child in a space where a lot of children are involved in messy play. You will find that there is absolutely, no scope for that child to have a fight with anybody, because during messy play there are no fights, there are no things, and so there are no fights. Avoid having things over there. Children are in the middle of parallel play, so they can play next to each other and they don't have to collaborate. But at times you will find that one child is lending something to the other or asking something from the other child, and this develops cooperation, collaboration, and language skills. And of course, it develops confidence. So the child, there's no scope for mistakes, but because there is nothing that is correct, and so the child develops a lot of confidence. So all these are ways in which children grow when they play in a messy way. So I'd like to finish by saying this, that you can remember: don't stress about the mess. The mess is what is building your child's brain, and it'll also prevent your exhaustion. So don't stress about the mess. I hope you've subscribed to the channel. More videos like this coming up soon. Like this one, subscribe, share it with someone who may be able to use it. I'll see you in the next video.